All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. We are so glad to have you join us each week as we continue to bring health experts, scientists, and a lot of information to the table for you in regards to activation, the world of activation. We are passionate about it here. I absolutely love to interview and just teach you more. I learn something every single time. So you guys are in for a real treat tonight as we debut our brand new MindBody GLP-1 activation system. And we're going to dive into that. But before we get started, little introduction. My name's Marilee Marisic, and I've been a wellness warrior now for about 17 years, 9 years with an incredible company called LifeVantage. And in that, I have learned so much. Part of my journey, prior to that, just trying to help remedy some issues that I was having. I learned along the way to be my best health advocate. And so, really digging in and learning and trying to get to root cause. When I found LifeVantage, just the gift of finding activation and how very different that is from supplementation and just filling gaps and trying to guess. Now, the ability to activate your body's full potential, that's where my journey began. And so it has been an incredible education for me. It's been an incredible gift to everybody that has discovered it. So in the chat, let us know if you love activation and it's made a game change for you. We want to hear it. But tonight, guys, I'm so excited as we now have been able this month, just a few days ago, to launch our latest activator. It's a dual activation system. It's a GLP-1 activation system. And my goodness, we just got back from Kansas City as we launched this officially on site. And my word, my jaw was on the floor. And so my special guest tonight is literally Lisa Barnes, who is the VP of Research and Development. And she has been behind the scenes for over a year, you guys, working on this with her brilliant team of scientists and researchers as they've developed this line. And when I asked Lisa, would you join me as we debut this on Wellness Wednesday? And I said something to her, and I want to share this with you guys tonight. I said, it's very loud in the world of GLP-1s right now. You guys might be hearing it. In fact, if your phone's sitting next to you, you're probably going to have some, hearing this conversation, you might have some push ads that pop up and you're going to see GLP-1 everything. So what I mean by that, it's loud in this space. There's a lot of people talking about GLP-1 because there's an aha moment of how beneficial it is. But you're seeing everything from synthetics to other products that are claiming to boost GLP-1. And so my question first to Lisa was, my goodness, it's getting loud in this space. How are we going to be different? And her response to me gave me goosebumps on goosebumps. And she basically said, in this space, when you see the science and the research and all the clinicals and everything we've done, what we've seen is unprecedented. And I guarantee you, this is stand out, stand alone. There's nothing else like this. There's nothing else that can touch this. And so, my goodness, you guys, as we sat and listened to the clinicals, the results that came out, she was right. And I'm so excited for you guys to learn more. So, we're going to do a deep dive. I'm going to hand it over to Lisa. And I know she's been hard at work behind the scenes and sharing, sharing, sharing. So, Lisa, I'm so excited about this product. I can't even tell you. And I want to just share too, quick little side note. I was one of 55 people that had a chance to experience this for about 6 weeks prior to it coming. And if you know me, I'm a thin person. However, I was dealing with menopausal fluff. And if you know what I mean, you can put it in the chat. But my goodness, hitting 55 and just a few years of putting a few extra fluffy pounds around the middle, I could not get rid of it no matter what I did. And so that was very frustrating to me. And along with that, I had some other issues that were going on. The brain fatigue that can really hit. That was me. Also, stamina. In my workouts, I just absolutely would tank. So something had changed in me. And all I want to say is this, Lisa, this unlocked something inside of me, and it has absolutely changed my world. And I'm so excited as we talk about this tonight because we're going to talk about weight loss. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the benefits of that. But I can attest to the fact that the benefits of activating GLP-1 are far beyond weight loss. And I'm so excited to hear from you tonight as you kind of walk us through that. So let's jump into this topic. blow everybody's mind. Let's debut this thing and let's show everybody some of the incredible stuff that you have found. So, everyone, please welcome to the call, Lisa Barnes. So glad to have you here.
Oh, I am so glad to be here. I think I've just been running off of pure adrenaline since we launched this last Friday, even actually before that, because we were working on getting our patent submitted for this. So just still running on the Axio, running, just keep going. Maybe this weekend I'll get some sleep, but it's just been a marathon to get this phenomenal product out to market because we've been keeping this a secret for over a year. Very few people were included in our circle of trust because we knew how groundbreaking this would be. And we wanted to ensure, first of all, that we could patent this. And we didn't want anything leaking out to any of our competitors because we knew we had something different. And we wanted to be sure that we could scream from the mountaintops our difference, which we can. So I'm glad that I finally get to share it with everyone. So let me go ahead and I'll share my screen and then let's dig right in. Okay, we'll move on from me because we've already gone over all those pieces. So let's start right at the beginning with some biology 101, because if you don't know what GLP-1 is, then this product's not going to be very exciting. So why do we care about GLP-1? It's a hormone, it's produced in the gut, and it's going to regulate appetite and blood sugar levels. So that all looks like promoting feelings of fullness, satiety, and slowing down the rate at which food leaves the stomach. And so what it's really a part of is this gut-brain axis, that communication that happens between your gut and your brain so that your brain knows you're full or your brain knows you're satisfied so you don't keep eating. Because if that's out of balance, then you just don't have that communication happening in your body to let you know that you're good, that you're satisfied, that you have everything you need. Instead, you're always searching for that next satisfaction, for that next high, because it's not being satisfied naturally because you're out of balance and that communication is not happening. And so with that, you're being controlled by your cravings. You're being controlled by all this noise and this lack of communication instead of being in control. And so if they are at ideal levels, GLP-1, we're going to be less likely to overeat and succumb to cravings. So that's its relationship specifically to food. But what I want to emphasize is there's a reason we picked this target. And when we first were developing this product, one of the questions we got is LifeVantage going to become another one of those weight loss companies? And really quickly, we responded with no, because we are the activation company. And so if we are going to approach any area of health, we need to approach it through our activation lens. And activation, to put it simply, is take it to make it. You take LifeVantage products to make essential things for your health. And in this case, we are making GLP-1 by taking our MindBody GLP-1 system. And so we are approaching it, first of all, from that lens. And secondarily, GLP-1 is not only about weight. It's being tied to that right now because of the all of the news that we're seeing and everything that's coming out from celebrities and everything. We hear GLP-1 and immediately think weight, but it's so much more widespread than that. So a few of those benefits. So it's involved in a sustained and balanced glucose response. So you're not getting those spikes. But what I find incredibly fascinating are the next two. So it's involved in the health of essential organs, heart, liver, kidney, your fat tissue, pancreas, skeletal muscles. There's not really a system that's missing there that it's not involved in. And so a lot of it's protective effects. So by balancing your GLP-1, you're proactively addressing a lot of areas of health. And that also goes to your brain and nerve health because we've seen a lot of protective effects of the brain, neuroprotective effects of GLP-1 that's starting to emerge throughout the research right now as people are looking at this hormone. And so as you're balancing GLP-1, you're not only addressing weight, we're also addressing other key areas of health. And so, okay, we've talked about it. We know what it does. We know that it's beyond weight. We know why we want it balanced. So what brings it out of balance? So a lot of things. So age, stress, the food that we have nowadays, even when we try to eat clean and healthy, a lot of the nutrients that used to be available in our food are just not there anymore as we've kind of developed as a world, as a society. And there's also more of a sedentary lifestyle. I sit in my office all day long. I have to be very intentional about movement because it would be very easy for me to be in this office all the time and not move whatsoever. So a lot of us are sedentary and not getting the movement that we were designed to have. And all of these factors will lower GLP-1. And before I get into the solution, one of the questions we keep getting about our products is, okay, if I reach where I want to get with my goals, do I get off these products? Am I good forever? And the question I ask back to them is addressed by this slide. If you look at everything that lowers your GLP-1 that's on this slide, does any of that go away when you hit your target weight? Are you going to stop aging? Is your stress going away? I know mine's not. Is your diet going to get any better? You're going to make better choices, but the quality of your food is still not where it used to be. And you're moving more, but you're never able to move as optimally as you would like to because life. And so all these factors are still going to be bringing down your GLP-1 levels. And so you need to work on activating it and staying on these products regardless of when you hit your weight goal, because it is so much more than just weight. Now, there are a lot of other approaches to GLP-1 that's out there. There's synthetic, and there's a purpose for them. They were developed for very specific conditions, but they can lead to some very unpleasant side effects, nausea, digestive issues, just to name a few, because they have this prolonged mechanism of action. And they are very intensified function because of the drug functionality they need. And so when you take them, it's just fighting against everything that your body naturally wants to do, which is why it can be so hard to be on those products. But we see people struggling with those side effects. They're barely being able to function in life because of them, but they're wanting to see these results, so they're sticking with it. And that's why there's a need for other options. And then we see other activators, and I put that in quotes because they're not proving that they can activate. They are not doing anything to the level that we are doing. So we saw a lot of products jump out immediately after like the drugs became available. People were jumping on a trend. They knew that people would be searching for it, so they wanted to have a solution. So they took their products that they already had in their portfolio and they relabeled them. The ones you saw come out really quickly, that's what they did. They didn't have enough time to do any research. They just relabeled them. No studies involved in any of that. We also saw ingredients at lower than clinically efficacious doses. We could recognize the ingredients they were using. We knew how much they had in their clinicals. We could tell from their labels that they did not include that. So that was pretty straightforward. We saw a lot of brands with no clinical studies. So they would claim to support GLP-1, or might even use our activation word, but there would be no percentage increase of GLP-1 noted, because they did not do the study to prove that. At most, they maybe looked at an ingredient that had some data on it, but they did not test their entire formula. And what's incredibly important about testing your entire formula is that you never know how ingredients are going to interact when you build them into a formula. They could work synergistically. They also could cancel out each other's functionality. So you need to ensure that you're putting them together correctly. And that's what all the different steps of research and clinical testing are supposed to do, is ensure that you actually are seeing the benefits of all the different ingredients you've put together. We've also seen a lot of products with very complicated usage instructions. So it ends up being something that controls you instead of you being in control. For example, we've seen pieces with like systems with maybe 6 products in the system or 7 products. It's a bar, it's a shake, it's all these different things you're incorporating into your day, and you're barely eating a normal meal. And it just isolates you. Because I think my family's Southern, we do everything around food. Like if I am sitting in a corner drinking my protein shake or my smoothie, and they're all eating this amazing food, I am already isolated from them. Why do I even want to go to those events? Because I don't feel like I'm part of the family. And so it was incredibly important to us as we developed the system to make sure it worked with your lifestyle instead of being something that overtook your lifestyle. Other ones we've seen is, here, take this pill, these 3 pills, and take 3 before lunch and before breakfast and before dinner. And you're just, once again, in this very tight regimen that does not allow you any flexibility. And so, once again, we wanted to work within your life so that you could be in control, you could make decisions, you could have your life back without being controlled by something else. Because we didn't want to free you from food noise to then have you controlled by a diet system. Because many of us have grown up in that culture. It's a toxic culture. It's a culture that's based on shame and just fear that you're not going to be accepted if you don't look a certain way. I've shared my story on here before that I grew up and had a horrible eating disorder, and it ruled my life for many years. And it was all from fear that I wouldn't be accepted if I revealed my true self of who I was, that people would not accept me if I didn't look a certain way, that I would not be successful in life. And all of it's lies, but it's lies that we all hear. And so it's incredibly important to really flip the narrative and make sure that we are approaching weight loss from health, not from something that's from a toxic lens, not something that's going to overtake you and bring you back to the 90s or early 2000s. This is the new weight loss that's based on health and it's based on activation. So before I introduce our solution, I just wanted to be really clear about that because that was really going through all of our minds as we were developing this system, is that it needed to check these boxes. Otherwise, we did not launch it. And the fact that we did launch it and we're this excited about it, you know that we were successful in achieving our goals. And so that's where our MindBody GLP-1 system came in. And I'm so glad that I actually get to say the name now because I've almost given it away in multiple Zooms. I think I accidentally told our Canadian friends on one. I don't think they noticed. I said one of the names of the products and then just sped by it. I don't think they even noticed. But it's so good to be upfront and open now and share these two amazing products. So let's start real quick with their benefits. You'll find these on our website. So naturally increases GLP-1, and we'll go over the exact percentage and all that information later. It's going to help you support that sustainable weight loss. You're going to feel and see those results. It's demonstrability, which makes this product phenomenal because you will feel it, you will see it. It's something that you will reap the benefits of quickly. It's going to balance more than just GLP-1. It's going to be additional hunger hormones as well to increase satiety versus that gut-brain axis. It's going to help quiet food noise so you can cut down on those cravings and reduce the desire to snack. And then it's going to help you maintain that blood sugar already within a normal, healthy range. So it's activating all of these areas of your health. Now, when I was telling Marilee why ours was head and shoulders above everyone else, these next slides are why. Because we kept seeing, she's like, but Lisa, I'm seeing people, they're using our activation word. They're saying they activate GLP-1. Like, how are we different? How are we different? And I was like, oh yeah, no, don't worry. Like they say they activate, we use dual activation. And even we go beyond that, and I'll go beyond it in a second. But even with just this, we are already above the competition because they are looking at potentially activating GLP-1 maybe through one way. And we've shown that we can activate it through two complementary ways. So we have our MB Core, which are our capsules, and they directly activate the GLP-1 pathway. And I'm going to go through some of the ingredients in just a second. And we have our MB Enhance, which indirectly activates GLP-1 through optimization of the gut microbiome. Because if you feed the right organisms in your gut the right food, you will create short-chain fatty acids, which fuel GLP-1 production. So not only are you stimulating the L cells to make GLP-1, and L cells are found down in your lower GI tract, you are also creating the right environment so that that production is fueled as well. So dual activation that works synergistically, because we never approach a target through one mechanism of action. If you've heard me talk before, I'm always looking multi-mechanistically, and that's exactly how we built these two products. That's why it's two products instead of one product. Originally, we were looking at 5 products potentially. And I was looking at that, I was like, it's too many. It takes over your life. We don't need 6 drinks. We don't need this. We don't need any of this. We got down and had a discussion. What do we need for GLP-1 activation? It was these 2 products. Because of the direct and indirect activation of GLP-1, we knew that we would see the results we needed with just this. So that's what we launched. We didn't try to be greedy with the whole large system. We launched what was necessary to get the results that you were expecting. And so going into some of the ingredients, first we have our MB Core. So once again, that's our capsule. You take this 30 minutes before any calories are in your body. So I always just put it by my bed, take it when I get up. By the time I get ready and I'm ready to have some breakfast, I'm good to go. That 30 minutes is already passed. And you see the blend of 9 ingredients here, all naturally sourced. We have lemon bioflavonoids. We have chromium, which is essential for helping to regulate blood sugar. Berberine, hesperidin, acacia, you see everything on here. All of the ingredients that have had some sort of backing that links them to GLP-1, but had never been put together in this ratio. And that's why our whole rigorous testing protocols were incredibly important, because there was some data out there, but GLP-1 is incredibly new, and a natural approach to GLP-1 activation is so new that it's not like we had 100 ingredients to choose from, and then it was just like, oh, let's just pick here and pick here. No, there was only so many ingredients that already had data out there, and then we needed to build an entire formula. So it was a lot of looking into the literature and then doing our own testing to solidify the results. So all of these ingredients work in different ways to directly activate L cells to produce GLP-1. Then we partner with our MB Enhance. That's our powder. It's a mix-in, which is incredibly important to me because we didn't introduce a new drink to your diet, to your everyday, because everyone's drinking something throughout the day. You add this to it. So if I'm drinking my protein shake, I add this to it. If I'm drinking my Axio or my Daily Wellness, I mix it in with it. It can mix with everything. It has a very light, natural vanilla flavor that adds a creaminess to whatever you're doing, and it's delicious. So you can add it in different flavors, so you never get sick of it because you can always try it in something new. We're always experimenting with what we can try it. Now, the ingredients. So we have some potato starch, tapioca fiber, kombucha, MCT oil. You can see them on the screen. What I want to emphasize is the word resistant that you see with potato starch and tapioca fiber. What this means is resistant to digestion, because where did GLP-1 production happen? Down in the colon. And that takes some digestion to get there. And a lot of other ingredients that people will put in their formulas will be digested prior to reaching their target. So you're not going to see the effects you're looking for because it's not getting where it needs to go. But by including these resistant starches and fibers, they are resistant to digestion and they get right to that colon environment that they need to be so they can feed the right microorganisms, once again, to stimulate GLP-1 production indirectly. So this blend is the perfect food for the right microorganisms to be able to enhance that GLP-1 production. So that's dual activation, direct and indirect, working in synergy together. But we didn't stop there. I was laughing from stage that our team is full of overachievers that couldn't just stick with just doing that double mechanism of action. We also had to do dual amplification. And what this simply means is you make all this GLP-1 in your body. If you do not have receptors for it to bind to, you will not amplify its effects. You will not see any increased effects. If you do not reduce the enzyme that breaks down GLP-1, you will not experience amplified GLP-1 benefits. So in order to really use all of this GLP-1 we're producing, we need to also increase activation of those receptors and decrease the enzyme that breaks it down. And that's exactly what we saw, which was incredibly exciting because no one else can say that. Some people have potentially looked a little bit at DPP-4, but no one has looked at any receptor activation, and they definitely have not looked at this dual activation approach. So our entire holistic comprehensive approach is incredibly unique in this market, and that's why we are patent pending. That's why I didn't sleep the week before launch, because we were getting all of that amazing research written up so that we could protect these amazing formulas. And just as a reminder, to get patent pending, it needs to be novel research. It needs to be unexpected benefits. It can't just be obvious. It needs to be non-obvious. That's the legal term for it. And to be able to submit for this shows that what we have is something unique. So then going into some of the substantiation, because I talked to you about kind of some of the marketing language that we landed on how this works, but let's get to some of the data behind it, digging in a little deeper. So first we started with our in vitro study because we're big nerds in my group. We want to understand how it's working. Because I don't put things in people's bodies that I don't understand how they work. I don't like just a wait and see, like, oh, let's see if this has the intended effect. I want to test it in something that is not a person. I just want like the little cells to be able, the specific L cells that are found in the gut. I want to test that first to ensure we have the right mechanism of action. We're getting exactly what we're intending. We're having nothing harmful before I put it in anyone else's body. And so we started with our in vitro study. And so what we first saw was that there was a 54% increase in GLP-1 production. Now, that can get confusing because we have two numbers for GLP-1 production, but it's easy. We started looking in cells. 54% production. It's when we got to humans that we saw our 140% increase. And that's the number that truly matters because that's what you're seeing clinically. But this gave us a beautiful sign that our product was doing exactly what it intended to do. And if you're visual, this imagery that you're seeing right here, all the fluorescent green that you're seeing is GLP-1 that is being produced by the L cells. So you can see that significant increase. So once again, showing us we were on the right track. But we didn't stop there. We wanted to understand how it's working. And you'll see some competitors talk about activating a GLP-1 gene, which doesn't exist. So if you hear that from anyone, there isn't a gene that activates GLP-1. Because you know what GLP-1 is it comes from a larger peptide that you break into pieces, and one of those pieces is active GLP-1. So if you actually want to activate more GLP-1, you need to go to activation of proglucagon, which is the bigger peptide, and that's activated through the GCG gene, which we activated by 95%. So more of the larger peptide. But if you have more peptide and you don't have enzyme to cut up the peptide into active GLP-1, once again, you will not see more GLP-1. So we also increased that gene, PCSK1, that encoded for the enzyme by 32%, all leading to more GLP-1 production. And then we saw the increase of the GLP-1R gene, and that encodes for the receptors that GLP-1 binds to. So GLP-1 is like a key that fits into the lock of the receptor, and that's when you unlock the benefits. But if you don't have enough receptors, you're not going to be able to unlock the full potential. And so we increased the activation of those receptors, and then we decreased the DPP4 gene expression, which would break GLP-1 down, all leading to enhanced GLP-1 benefits. But once again, we did not stop at just looking at GLP-1 because the gut-brain axis is such a complicated system that's involving many hormones and also neuropeptides. And so we decided to look at a few key neuropeptides that really would show that restoration of the gut-brain axis communication. So we looked at both PPY and PYY, which are key neuropeptides, and both increased incredibly significantly. Once again, showing that not only are we influencing GLP-1, but we're influencing these other complementary neuropeptides as well. And we've also seen through some of our ingredient studies the balancing of ghrelin and leptin as well. So it's this holistic approach that's really looking at your entire gut-brain axis and that communication, getting it all flowing so that your brain knows what's going on in your gut and vice versa. Everything is talking the way it should so that you can experience satiety and fullness and be able to be in control of your own decisions. But then we didn't stop with just our in vitro data. We wanted to perform a study in individuals as well. And so we created a clinical study with 60 individuals. It's a 12-week long clinical. None of these individuals were in any other LifeVantage products. They were activation newbies, so they've never experienced any of those benefits before, except now they have. And we definitely heard some comments from people in the waiting room. They couldn't see us, but we could hear them asking where they could buy this product. So once they experienced activation, they didn't want to go back. But up here at the top, you can see kind of our banner claim here of 140% average increase in GLP-1, which is incredible. So more than what we even saw in our cell study. And typically when I look at those kind of studies, I actually was expecting it to be maybe even a little bit lower, to be completely frank with you, than what we saw in the cell study. Because usually cells, you maybe see percentages a little higher, and then it's a little bit lower actually in humans. So seeing it be 140% was phenomenal and just really linked to the other benefits that we saw these subjects experiencing. And so with this clinical, we had 3 groups. We did have a group that was placebo. We had a group that just had product and no exercise and diet recommendations, and then a group that had product and very mild diet and exercise recommendations. And the reason we did that is we wanted to make sure that the results could be something you could experience on the product, because we were never going to suggest an extreme diet regimen to go alongside these products. This was meant to complement your lifestyle. And so we wanted to give them education and healthy target guidelines, but it wasn't something that we were enforcing on them because they needed to make the decisions. And so we had those three groups. And actually, something that was very interesting is the groups that just used product alone versus the groups that had product and diet exercise were very similar in how they performed. One thing we did see with the group that had diet and exercise recommendations is that they actually, some of the subjective data with how they were viewing themselves and viewing their success was accelerated. So they definitely were feeling, even though a lot of the physical traits, physical results were very similar, they were feeling more optimistic. They were definitely feeling those cravings going down. They were feeling the more energy. Like they definitely linking this with diet and exercise recommendations definitely gave them the mindset for success. And that's why we include our lifestyle recommendations as a part of this system that you can find on one of our sites. And so looking more into these results and why they're phenomenal, we also saw an average weight loss of 9 pounds in 8 weeks and up to 25 pounds in 12 weeks. Dr. Melody Rodardi was just talking with me on a healthcare professionals meeting, and she said when she looks at products and looks at weight loss, sustainable, healthy weight loss, these are the exact numbers she's looking for. If it's something that's where everything's just dropping so fast, it's unhealthy and body composition is suffering as a result. But something along these lines is very healthy and sustainable and something that where these results are going to stick around. We also saw that 100% of those who lost weight did not lose muscle, which was phenomenal. We saw an up to 5% total body fat percentage loss and then up to 27% visceral fat loss. So a lot of that targeted fat reduction as well. So just incredible results on the physical side. But what I loved even more were some of these emotional and more psychological benefits that we saw with the products. People were taking back their relationship with food, 82%. 95% had decreased sugar cravings. 96% chose smaller portions. 85% felt less hungry. 90% ate less at meals, and then 85% now eat for health instead of emotions, which I love. This is all showing you're in control. You're not being controlled by everything surrounding you because there is enough noise in this world. I have ADHD, so my brain's going a million miles a minute at any moment. I am thinking through every possibility. I'm thinking about what I'm going to be making for dinner, and I'm thinking about the next product I'm working on, and I'm also thinking about the book I read. I'm bouncing back and forth. I don't have room for any more noise in my head. And so being on this product and having that noise reduced is such a blessing to have one less thing going in my head so I can focus on what truly matters in my life, which is not food noise. And so looking a little bit on the picture side, there's a few clinical before and afters that I just want to share. So here you see this gentleman on the left-hand side. You can see over 12 weeks, just drastic changes in his appearance, and also with this lady on the right-hand side. Just once again, only adding these products in, no other activation occurring. And not only did we have these 60 individuals or the 50 individuals who were on the products in our human clinical, we also had a group of 55 individuals who were part of Club 55 who had their own results. And I have a few put here, some after 3 weeks, some after 2 weeks. And I don't even have like Shauna's like last pictures. I think I saw it on social. She's now down 20 pounds in 7 weeks and even more inches. Her journey has just been incredible, and she's been very vulnerable with her experience. It's just been beautiful to listen to her share how these products have changed her life. She was sharing her story, and Julie and I, our CMO, we were just crying because it was just showing the power of what having everything in balance and not being controlled by something that's been so controlling for so long, what that can look like and how freeing that can be. And I know, Marilee, that you had your own experiences with the product as well. You mentioned a little bit of it. I've had my own experiences with the product. I didn't primarily go on it to lose weight, though I ended up losing 10 pounds of it just in a month. But the biggest thing for me was the cravings and not having the food noise. Because like I said, I grew up and it was a huge issue for me. And my brain has never been quiet from food noise. And it has been. I've been able to walk past things without overanalyzing past food, without overanalyzing everything about it, being like, should I put it in my body? Shouldn't I? If I did this, what will I have to do? How many sit-ups would I have to, what would I have to do to burn this? All of that quieted and be like, okay, I can just eat something healthy, put it in my body, fuel it, and then move on to the next thing that matters more than having all of this noise in my head. And beyond just GLP-1, because all of this is phenomenal on its own, but what we always talk about is that with activation, it's always in the synergies. Because if you are going to the root of health for a certain system and you are going to the root of health for another system, every time that we've looked at how those products interact together, there's always been beautiful synergies. Tri-Synergizer, we saw synergistic activation of the NRF2, NRF1, and NAD pathways when all three products are used together. Phenomenal increases. So when you take all three products, you're activating everything synergistically. Then we had our beautiful healthy glow that we not only had the benefits of activating antioxidants in your body from Botanum NRF2 Synergizer, we had the benefits of activating collagen from the True Science liquid collagen, but when we put them together, we had new benefits. We saw that you break the cellular stress cycle because with the cellular stress cycle, your cells are just barely getting by, they're surviving, not thriving. But when we break that cellular stress cycle with this product combination, which is a unique benefit when only if you use the two of them together, you see that cycle broken so that your cells can perform the way that they were intended to from the very start. And the study that we did, the cell tissue or the cell line that we did that study in with those two combination products were fibroblasts. And those are found throughout your body and all your key organs and tissues. And so then you think, okay, if I break the cellular stress cycle in these cells and they're found everywhere, what does that mean to holistic health? And that's what we've seen with people who've been on the Healthy Glow stack. It's just transformation, and not just a physical transformation, like an appearance transformation. It's been a health transformation. And so one of the things, and some of this is still in progress because we got to have some more to talk about and give us a few more months, is the links between NRF2 and GLP-1. And so what we've seen very clearly in the literature is that when you activate NRF2, we see a reciprocal increase in GLP-1, and GLP-1 helps reduce oxidative stress. And so they have a beautiful symbiotic relationship there. And so right now we're looking at what does it look like when you put Protandim NRF2 and all of those key powerful actives together with the key powerful actives of our MindBody GLP-1 system. What does that synergy look like? What new exciting benefit comes from that? And so we'll have more to talk about soon, but what I want to mention right now is there's a reason to be on both of these products, at least at a minimum, because of these synergies. Because if you activate both, you're going to optimize both. You're going to get the most benefits from it. And even better if you can add in liquid collagen, because then you're breaking the cellular stress cycle. So your body is able to then benefit and reap all the benefits of GLP-1 activation, which is incredible. And so my kind of last slide that I wanted to go over was just some of the options that we have, because I'm not here to be all salesy. That's not my job. But I want to talk about why it makes sense to take all these products together from my perspective, because I helped build all these because I'm involved in all of product development. And so kind of looking at some of the options here with our executive stack over here, you have the beauty of the NRF2, collagen, and MB. So having that breaking of the cellular stress cycle and activation of GLP-1, you're getting energy and activation of neurotransmitters. And we've already talked about some of the neuroprotective benefits of GLP-1. So there's synergies there. We see fat burn, which works through a completely different mechanism of action to increase your basal caloric burn. So you're getting another complementary mechanism for weight loss that will only enhance your results. And then you have some beautiful True Renew in there as well. And one of the things you do see as you lose weight is a little bit of loss of firmness. And so having some tightening with that makes complete sense. And so then you can see why all of these packs were put together, where this healthy weight stack is kind of your like minimum. You at least want that NRF2 activation with your GLP-1 activation. But the more activators that you can combine, the more synergies come into play. and the more holistic the health benefits. And so whenever we create a new product, we are never just thinking about that product in isolation. We are already always thinking about it in combination with everything else in our portfolio. We want to think of how can you guys reap the benefits of taking all of these products together and live even more activated? And where do they make sense from gene activation or just other synergistic benefits? So that's always going through our minds. And so there is a reason that all of these exist. It's never an either or kind of situation. It's a plus situation. And yes, yes, please situation of let's keep activating more, because even people who thought they were fully activated with everything that we had, they added this MB, the mind body system, and they felt even better than they could even imagine. So once again, adding all these activators together, you see these beautiful synergies. And so with that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. But that's just a little bit, well, more than, oh, that's a lot of information about what we've been working on for the past year, all of the science behind it, the reason it exists, why it makes sense for LifeVantage to be the one bringing this solution, and why it is the solution, how that actually shook out in our clinical study and the proof behind it.
I could not love this more, you guys. Just the proof behind it. She just said it. And honestly, proof in the numbers, proof in the clinicals, but sometimes I'll tell you too, proof in how you feel. And I want to tell you this. Like I was talking to Lisa about this and I said, okay, muffin top melted. So some of you might be asking, like, so what happens when I hit my weight loss goal if you have one? I will never stop taking this. I feel so good. My brain is on point. This has literally made my brain feel alive. The stamina that I have is that I did in my 20s. And honestly, as you're explaining how this works, Lisa, it makes sense to me now why, like GLP-1, that gut brain connection. I actually, we've talked about that many times on on Wellness Wednesday, and I didn't really know what it was until I got it now. Like I totally get it. And what I love about this is the holistic approach. So I think MindBody is like the perfect name for this product line because I think that gut brain connection has been so key. But I'm telling you guys, it has unlocked something for me. And I think every single one of us in Club 55 that had a chance to experience it will all tell you the same. Layering this with other activators is brilliant. There's so many gifts that activation brings to the table, but I don't ever want to stop feeling this good. And Lisa, I think one of the neatest things that you shared with me is that what this does, if I'm understanding correctly, and you might want to speak to this for just a minute, is that when you reach that ideal weight, it's balancing, if I'm understanding you right. So please talk about this. It's balancing that GLP-1 hormone. So I'm not going to continue losing weight. I'm going to be at that balance level. And that's what I'm noticing. Like I got that fluff gone and now it's just body composition is fantastic. And I feel amazing. Is that
Very
correct?
Once that's balanced, that does help to balance that response as well. Something else we suggest too when you reach kind of those goal weights is that if you're someone who takes all 4 scoops of the MB Enhance all at once, which does provide an kind of a pretty long lasting bit of satiety, if you want to maintain, you can start spreading out the scoops throughout the day, still getting 4 scoops within your day, but spreading them out through beverages throughout your day. So you're not having just one kind of big satiety period in your day, and that it will help support your journey to eat maintenance calories as well. But yes, the balance helps with that as well.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, I just want to encourage every one of you, if you have not already ordered this product, what are you waiting for? Get it in your body. And I want to encourage you, take the measurements, document this, write down when you first start, like what were you feeling like at the beginning? Because you want to be able to document that piece of it. And I'll tell you, it's not all about the scale. It's a lot about the measurements. So that piece of it and just notice how much better you feel. It's absolutely the most incredible gift. So, Lisa, I want to thank you for your time here. And I want to, on behalf of every one of us, thank you for bringing this to our world. Now it's like I'm telling you, it's like it unlocked something in me. And I absolutely love activation. That's a whole other Zoom. We could talk about all the benefits that activation's brought in my world over the last 9 years. I'll be an activator for life. but I absolutely love this piece of it. It's been a missing piece, and I didn't know it and now I know, right? So this has been a gift. You're a gift, and I just thank you for your time tonight. This has been a fantastic amount of information. So, ta-da, here it is. Get your hands on this product. Make sure to get back to the person that invited you to this. Ask them through all the questions. They can help answer that for you. And join us again next week. We're going to continue talking about this GLP-1 activator, more stories to share, more experts to come to the table. But what an honor to have it from the horse's mouth tonight. And my goodness, and such a beautiful soul you are, Lisa. Thank you again for bringing this to our world. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And join us back again next week. All right. With that, this call is a wrap. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.